The reaction to it on social media, primarily towards Tim Walz's son, has left me baffled. Because it's just been so gross. In the Tim Walz speech, at around, I would say, 8 minutes in, he says he loves his family. And I know that's shocking, that the school teaching, football coach, father of two, who did everything with his wife, including trying different IFV-like treatments to try to get kids, finally got kids, that he actually loves them. Crazy. He does. You know, it is crazy. Some people actually love their children. And he just gives them a quick shout out, and it's beautiful. It's very nice. Most normal people reacted to this saying, oh, that's very nice. That's very sweet. Now let's get back to the election. Now let's get back to policy. Now let's get back to the issues. Let me show you the moment. I do think it's cute. And I do think if there's one thing that JD Vance does hate about the opposition in the Democrats, is that their VP pick is very personable, while JD Vance does have a problem being as personable. Let me show you this moment.
When we heard the treatments hadn't worked, it took Gwen and I years, but we had access to fertility treatments. And when our daughter was born, we named her Hope. Hope, Gus, and Gwen, you are my entire world, and I love you. I'm letting you in on how we started a family, because this is a big part about what this election is about. Freedom.
So this is an extension of his argument about a freedom to choose how you make your own family and to choose how you run your own family, because he's talking about how they used assistance in trying to, you know, have children, and that's how his two children, Hope and Gus, were born. Is, you know, because they had fertility issues like millions and millions of other Americans do as well when trying to have families. And so this was an extension of that argument about having the freedom to do that against certain politicians who believe that it's not necessarily a woman's right to make those decisions, and the government should have more of a say once, you know, somebody is pregnant, or, you know, what type of contraception a family should be able to use, or a wife and a husband should be able to use. And so he's making a pro-freedom argument, but he uses a small extension of that to say he loves his family. Now, if you have a problem with this, right? If you have a problem with the argumentation here, you go like, okay, well, the difference is because a life is a life is a life, and then you go and you argue the minutia. But that's not what I saw in reaction to this mostly. No. See, the problem with Tim Walz is that he's just very likable. He's a nice guy, and people can say, you know, I'm hyping him up, but the polling represents that. If you would have put Tim Walz and JD Vance and their favorability polling next to each other, I mean, it's like apples and oranges, or more like apples and, I don't know, something that polls very poorly. Dick Cheney. Apples and Dick Cheney. I don't know. Point is, he's not very popular right now. And he's not extremely personable. In fact, I think I have a clip here. Here's a recent campaign stop. Mind you, this is a campaign stop. This is a campaign photo op. The purpose of this is to show JD Vance going around doing regular guy things, meeting people, you know, being like, hey, like, look at me. I know how to interact with the public. I am a human, not a lizard. That's the purpose of this, is to personalize him next to everyday people. And this is the best that they could do.
Hey, how are you? Good, good. The zoo has come to town. Thank you for letting us come in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Looks like is everybody else in here? All right, one of the few. Okay. So we are, let's see. We're going to get, how many people, Nick? How many donuts do we get?
I would get a couple dozen, sir.
A couple dozen? Okay. I'm sorry, man? Okay, yeah. She doesn't want to be on film, guys, so just cut her out of anything. Appreciate that, man. I'm JD Vance. I'm running for vice president. Good to see you.
Okay.
We're going to do 2 dozen.
Okay.
Yep. And just a, you know, random assortment of stuff here. How long are you working?
I've been here since the beginning of July
Okay.
for this year.
Okay, good. How about you, sir?
Almost 2 years.
Okay, good. How long is this?
Everything.
Just everything, yeah. I mean, a lot of glazed tears.
No, we're not. We're gonna watch all of it. We're watching all. You might be like, okay, Dylan, you get it. No, we're watching all of it. I watched all of it. You have to watch all of it.
Sprinkle stuff. Some of these cinnamon rolls, just whatever makes sense.
Ma'am, if you don't want to be on film, you're good. If you don't want to be on film, you're okay.
Yeah. How long has this place been around?
About 4 years.
About 4 years? Okay. How long have you been here?
A little over 6 months.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's, when we selected this place, I didn't know if it had been here for 20 years or 4 years, or, you know, you never know. Sometimes you drop in.
It is a cool story. The owner of this place, basically him and his uncle owned his grandfather's schools, which was founded in Douglas.
Oh, okay.
And his uncle...
That was painful. And the thing is, I don't want to get into the minutia of like social behavior there. The one thing that hurt was like he'd ask any question, and it would feel like he would get annoyed at you for answering, because it'd be like, okay, like he was trying to like, okay, like quick. But since it was the okay, you also didn't really feel like he was listening. I mean, that's how I felt watching it. And he didn't feel particularly comfortable in the room, and then their obvious discomfort rubbed off on his obvious discomfort, and he didn't really know how to play it off well. He didn't have any like quick quips or jokes or you know, like oh, you know, my favorite type of donut is this. What's your favorite type of donut? What's the best donut here? What's the stuff? He was like, oh no, they're it looks like these donuts are glazed. Like Your pizza is very cheesy, I've noticed. Do you have a lot of cheesy pizza around Illinois? Like what does he do? I don't know. Point is, right? This is not a simple fix. Now you can like give him some quick tips to like improve this stuff. Maybe they can just like sell him differently in ads. Maybe the ad rush and the money they're gonna flush into these states will improve his image. But right now, JD Vance's favorability is like in the double-digit negatives. Not good. Tim Walz's is in the single digits in some instances, in some polls, double-digit positives. But in all of them I've seen, he's in positive digits. And he's in positive digits in every state, including every swing state. And it's not hard to see why. You know, when you see pictures of the dude, he fishes, he hunts. You know, when you see him interact with his kids, it's very to the earth. And to be quite frank with you guys, he seems like a very grounded person. 24 years in the National Guard. You know, he was a school teacher way before he was in politics. You know, he has a lifetime of service. He's been in like politics also on a 20-something years on top of that. And I don't say that to say like, oh, 20 years of politics, oh, that's so impressive in America. No, not necessarily. But when you compare like his personal political experience to Trump's
Burns is an immoral
and JD Vance's,
corrupt.
JD Vance's and Trump's, if you combine their total amount of years in public office, like 6 years, Tim Walz himself knocks that out of the office, knocks it out of the park. Not even talking about Kamala Harris. And so I think he knows how to interact with the public in this way better than JD Vance necessarily does. And when he's known how to interact with the public from a MAGA way to the MAGA crowd to like the mainstream media, like firebrand, I'm gonna tell you, you're a liar. Like that's the type of way you suck up to Trump. That's how he did it. That's how he gets Trump's attention. But when you're trying to get people's attention, that's not Donald Trump. Like trying to socialize with people who are not Donald Trump and get them to like you is very different. Very different. And I think that's the problem he's running into. Trump and his family, mind you, because his kids were also a big reason why he was chosen. So the problem is JD Vance really not likable. Tim Walz likable. So what's the solution? Well, here's one potential solution that somebody could concoct. Why don't we just go after everything that is dear to him, including his family, and just attack them relentlessly? Just attack his family relentlessly. Let him have everything for no reason whatsoever for no other reason that he is related to the opposition. He's the son of the opposition candidate's VP pick, so therefore go after him. And that seemed to be the philosophy on Twitter for the last 24 hours since the speech was made. Let me show you some of the things that I've seen online. Let's start with, Iberia Scholar, thank you so much for the tier 1, I appreciate it. And I think somebody else also subbed. I don't want to get derailed too quickly, but I get derailed so easy. Retired old guy, thank you for spending your pension plan on my channel, I appreciate it. Anyway, first one, and Coulter, talk about weird. Tim Walz, 17-year-old son, breaks down in tears. Weird. It's a minor watching their father, who went from a public school teacher to now nominee for vice president, accept the nomination in a crowd of people supporting him when he originally went into politics with very little institutional support. I mean, he's watched his father from when he was a kid start as a congressperson, climb all the way up to here. I don't know. I think getting a little emotional makes sense. Not to mention, and I don't even want to get into it right now, but he's also, he has emotional disability. He has learning disabilities. He has emotional disabilities. And I really, like, anybody could react like this and it wouldn't be that crazy. But it just makes it even crazier that people are going after him for it. But it wasn't just him. Mike Crispi. Tim Walz, stupid crying son, isn't the flex the left think it is. You raise your kid to be a puffy beta male. Congrats. Does Barron Trump cry? Nope. Does he love his father? Of course. That's the type of values I want leading the country. What, that men don't cry? When men cry, that makes the country weak. The market shake upon the president's son's tears. My goodness. Is it really that none of them just knows what it's like to have their kids love them? Are they all that distant with their children? I mean, I know people express, like, emotion in different ways, but they must have some people who openly express emotion in their lives. Someone, right? Anyone? Dinesh Dsouza, of all people. This is a mainstream political commentator. And Coulter was. So is Dinesh Dsouza. This guy publishes documentaries that get played in movie theaters somehow. Documentaries, quote unquote. Like, this is a quote mainstream conservative commentator. The kid might have mental problems, but he's acting just like Tim Walz. So what's Waltz's excuse? And it's just a clip of him, like, crying and clapping and happy that his father is not being nominated for VP, Vice President of the United States. It's an amazing moment. It's probably the pinnacle of his career. Now, if he wins and they get 2 terms, you know, maybe there'll be, like, other moments that'll be, like, really, of course, joyful. When they win, it'll probably even be a more joyful moment. But the odds of him becoming president are very low. Vice president is probably, quite literally, the pinnacle of his political career. And there's not going to be any joy about a family member reaching that? Does he not have not only people in his family who are close to him and love him, but people who are not happy for him when he, you know, reaches some great success? Whatever that might be, to Dinesh Dsouza. Milo Yiannopoulis probably did the worst one. You know, long canceled for a million different reasons, which probably you can all Google at home, that have to do with crazy things he had to say about priests on the Drunken Peasants podcast, and just crazy things he was admitting to on the internet openly, and justifications for inappropriate behavior between adults and minors, before then saying, actually, you know, I'm not like that anymore. In fact, I'm not even gay anymore. I've now thrown off my homosexuality because I'm super Christy now. Jesus is a friend of mine, you know. And then he ended up selling Virgin Marys on, you know, Christian telemarketing networks. And now this is where he is now. Honestly, I don't know what he's doing now. He could still be selling those Virgin Marys on the Christian telegrams. Christian, like, telethons. I don't know. But either way, he is still not that different than he was on the Drunken Peasant podcast, because he saw this 17-year-old crying and clapping and happy about his father being chosen to be a nominee for president, vice president, which could make him president depending on events. And his response to that is, this boy has been, well, I mean, you can read that. What brought his mind to that? What brought his mind? Has he not any shame, number one? And is his mind still not that different than when he went on the Drunken Peasants podcast? Is nobody like seeing this and like, warning sign, warning sign, warning sign? Who sees this and thought this? Nobody else did. Not even any of the other conservatives. I think I saw one other creepy post kind of like this. Might even been worse because it was weird art. Disgusting stuff on Twitter, honestly, in the last 24 hours. Welcome to Elon Musk's Twitter. Completely unfiltered. I wonder why the advertisers are not coming back. I wonder why the investors are getting smaller and smaller returns. Man, the Saudis are not happy, are they? I mean, it is all Saudi cash, isn't it? My goodness. And let me just say, it was not just restricted to this guy. Because I was seeing pictures from Joey Mariano and other online commentators just of Tim Walz right when he was chosen. Right when he was chosen to be the nominee. It was him and his family, and there was nothing weird with the picture. It was just like a normal family photograph. And they were like, here is a picture of Tim Walz's family. Tell me if you find any flaws. Like, everybody's just going pixel by pixel, looking for like a weird mole or like different flaws about the family. Oh, hey, this family member's too fat. This family member's too skinny. This family member's too lanky. This family member's too annoying. This is how we're doing engaging in politics. These are the smear merchants that are getting traction on Twitter, because this is the type of hyperbolic rhetoric that can get you attention online now and on Twitter. And the algorithm loves it. The algorithm absolutely adores it. And it's not just restricted to Tim Walz or his family. It's also with other people's family. Here is Charlie Kirk. You know, I mean, you go to his account. What does it say? Founder and CEO of TP USA, Turning Point USA, one of the biggest conservative youth groups in the country. Totally not weird. It's a picture of Kamala Harris's husband with his daughter. And they're hugging as they're watching the events of the DNC, unfold. And he responded with the caption, totally not weird. Because the play is recently like, hey, it's weird what JD Vance is saying about postmenopausal women and their functions and childless cat ladies. And it's weird what Trump has said a million times over. So your response is, isn't it weird that this father is hugging their daughter at an event where their mother is being nominated President of the United States? His wife. By the way, there was a clip that was going around that was pretty viral. It was of Doug going, my wife, like Borat at one of the DNC like mini events or one of the events in the side rooms. He seems to be having a lot of fun. Point is, though, this is just how a father and a daughter looks if they're in touch. They love each other. Again, everybody expresses love differently. But this is just example of family who loves each other. Is that weird to Charlie Kirk? Is that weird? Has the weird attack gotten you so bad that you're looking at what's almost like a family photograph, honestly, from what this is looking at, from how you framed this, just focusing on them and them alone, of these two just embracing at this event, and you're trying to imply a weirdness between father and daughter that is not there. It really feels like the weird attack dug in deep. And so now they're just clawing at different family members and different photos looking for something. I'm sure they can find something that's weird about somebody at the DNC. I'm sure they can. But this is like the least weird thing there. Resentful. That's all I can think of. That's the only word that's blazed upon my skull right now. Resentful. Also, I will say the attacks are just better than ever. They're coming up with a lot of new attacks in reaction to the DNC this year. A lot of new material, never before seen.
It's a weird vibe going on. I can't figure it out, but I will, Greg. Barack Obama still the godfather of this machine. He gave us Joe Biden as VP. He gave us